Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy M.K.S here, back in another video. I was a bit shy to make this video because I've been thinking about it for quite a while now, at least a few days, if not a week or so, at least half a week to a week or so. Anyway, hope it's not too narcissistic of me talking about my plans, as I often say. But yeah, this month I wanted to, in July and a part of August and September, which is obviously this month, today's date being the 27th of September for future reference, I wanted to work on like my writings, paper, and yeah, my creativity, and also supporting Indigenous people from across the Americas. So those were my two main plans, but I didn't really manage to organize them as much as I'd like, and really coming towards the end of the month I really wanted to achieve a lot more. But anyway, I suppose it is the way it is. I have all these ideas in my mind about different videos I want to do, but I don't want to overdo it and do too many videos and bore you to death or anything like that. So can't think of much else to say in the intro, but yeah, I think there was something I was going to say, but I can't quite remember. But anyway, here are some of my plans which I want to do for my writings, works, if you like, as I call them. M.K.S obviously being my initials, you might be able to tell by now. But yeah, so as I say, I can't think of anything else to say in the intro. I'm probably going to be kicking myself later, so to speak, if I remember anything that I was going to say. I'm sure there was some other things I was going to say, but I forgot. Sorry for waffling. As I say, anyway, moving on. So here goes. So number one, I hope to talk about M.K.S works as much as possible, as soon as possible. I really wanted to cover it in September. I was going to say October, but in September, if I was more organised and had more energy and things like that, and remembered some ideas, I didn't keep forgetting stuff and being disorganised and procrastinating and stuff like that, I would have loved to have done much more in September on like M.K.S works and things like that. Number two, I also hope to talk about something, a quirky idea of mine I call the M.K.S initial auctions / signature sales. When I write it on paper, that's how I put it, but M.K.S for short. So yeah, I hope to talk about that as well in the future as soon as possible. Number three, I also hope to talk about M.K.S works for M.K.S initial auctions / signature sales, which yeah, I hope to go into those things in more detail in this coming week or as soon as possible. I might have to do so in October, but in October I hope to mainly focus on Black empowerment and dyslexia empowerment, Black and stroke dyslexic empowerment, as it's Black History Month and Dyslexia Awareness Month here in the UK. I know Black History Month is in February in America, but in the UK it's in October, so I hope to cover in both those months as I'm more of an internationalist or globalist or whatever. If that's the right, if those are the right words. Basically, I work on an international level because I'm not that patriotic. So, if I'm honest with you, as you might be able to tell from my other videos, yeah. So I hope to discuss those sorts of plans. Number four, I hope to work on M.K.S for books online, an online publishing company that I hope to make. Because of my punctuation and writing, strangely, although I love writing, my punctuation, not everyone can read my punctuation or my handwriting as well. So hence why I decided to, hence why I want to discuss these ideas on paper. On YouTube, because hopefully people will be able to understand at least some of what I'm saying, preferably as much as possible. I love for people to be able to read my writing, but as I say, because of my handwriting and punctuation, I also hope to talk about that sort of thing, my embarrassing punctuation and hoarding habits and things like that, about paperwork, with paperwork mainly, but how I like to keep hold of things generally, if I can make use of them. Yeah, I hope to talk about that as well, as I say, and remember my train of thought, but yeah, I hope to talk about it as soon as possible. Excuse me. Number five, I hope to focus on a lot of these goals as much as possible, and like as I say, work on M.K.S works, M.K.S initial auctions, M.K.S works for initial auctions, which would be like with my quirky mind and all that kind of thing, as you can probably tell, I have a quirky mind. It reminds me of like when Microsoft has like Word for Windows. Not that I'm really copying that idea, just in case of copyright, but it's kind of my own version of that, perhaps in a way, kind of. Because I call it M.K.S works for M.K.S signature sales or initial auctions. But yeah, so I hope to talk about my goals generally and what I hope to achieve, and I really think that through, like my next 5 to 10 year plans, and things like that, what sort of things I want to work on, and what I want to focus on, which is like benefiting Italian football, Celtic FC, my libertarian goals and general political goals, including supporting former colonies and helping poor people, but in a libertarian way rather than a socialist or a communist way. Again, I know I have a quirky mind. Number 6, again, I hope to look into how my works can help, hopefully help Italian football, and how I'd love to go to Italy and share my ideas about Italian football, about tactics and things like that, and strategies and skills and whatnot. Basically, my ideas generally for football, with Italian football generally, from the lower leagues all the way up to the high leagues, or even like politicians, the councillors, the government generally, and things like that in Italy as well, like how they could work with the Italian FIGC, and things like that. So, and also other things I want to work on. I hope to plan those as much as possible. Number 7, again, similar for Celtic, and also, as the saying goes, I don't know if people have heard of this overseas, like in America or elsewhere, but there's a saying like at 6s and 7s, which means, I think it means like someone who's a bit mad, like me, to be honest. So, like, I hope to talk about some of my admitting to some of my mad patterns or mental health problems or stuff like that. And I know I often plan to discuss those sorts of things. So maybe in October I can discuss those things, talk about disability generally, like mental, physical, and learning disabilities generally, and mainly focusing on dyslexia or other neurodiverse conditions. My plans for such people. But yeah, so like, if I could, I would. There's a part of me that struggles to control this, but there's a part of me for some reason wants to have like paperworks or receipts, envelopes, notebooks, refill pads, and all sorts of things like that I can write on, and pens and stuff like that, obviously to use to write on or with. And it's really hard to explain this, but part of me knows how mad this is, because like, obviously people need space to walk and move around. So I realise how nuts this idea is of mine, or this dream of mine, which I struggle to control, which is a strange sort of OCD perhaps. I suppose it probably does come under OCD, because it's like it's an obsession and a compulsion, and it's a disorder, I suppose. So it is, normally people have OCD for like cleaning or tidying. Unfortunately for me, I have OCD for like collecting things and stuff like that. So like, I don't like things to go to waste, as I've mentioned. That's why I'm a hoarder. But yeah, if I could, I would have notebooks, receipts, envelopes, notebooks, and all sorts of things, like literally as wide and high as the world, or like literally everywhere. I know people really would understand that, but I mean, I know no one will understand that, but I wonder if people think, oh, when he says literally everywhere, does he mean literally? But yeah, so that's one of the reasons why I was shy about making this video, because I thought, should I admit to the world how mad I am? But whoever gets to see it, as many views as I get. And I was a bit shy to go through it, but I thought I'd be as honest as possible, as I always try and do if I can. I say that generally speaking, I'm honest, but I do tell lies sometimes, but not very often. Anyway, but yeah, so I thought a solution to that would be to only have paperworks, receipts, envelopes, notebooks, refill pans and stuff like that, where I have permission to have them. So if I have places where I have creative rooms and spaces and things like that, which like councils or whoever give me, I could use that space. And I talked before about 1, 2 or 4, 1 and share for share, /share 1, 2 or 4, 1 /share for share. Again, hope these ideas make some sort of sense. I know I've quite a bit of explaining things, and always try and explain things a bit better if I can. But yeah, basically, if any religious group or any group generally, or even business, if they want me to promote their literature or promote things from their organization, whether that's a religious or spiritual organization or a business or a council or anyone else, like they gave me room to write, and I for each thing I get to write, I hope to share. So like, if the mosques help me to do that, I would share like a Quran for each thing I get to write. If the churches do, I would share a Bible for each thing I get to write, as best as I can, or I'll do my best to do that. That would be my promise, like to do my best to. So if I get to share those writings with other people, hopefully someone will be able to. I might have to explain what's in that writing, so that hopefully they will understand it. So yeah, so basically, I'd also love to share like a line from the Bible for each, a quote or a verse or a parable from the Bible for each line I get to write, for each line of paper I get to write, if I could organize that. I also wish God would protect my work as much as possible. Number 8, again, like, I hope to work on that as much as possible. Number 9, I hope to write as much as I can. I often get writer's block, but I hope to be able to find a way to write. And number 10, I hope my works, writings, whatever you want to call them, will help as many people as possible, especially people from disadvantaged backgrounds. So, yeah, I probably bared my soul and admitted to my madness a bit there, like quite a lot. So, as ever, I'd love to hear what you think, and hopefully I didn't embarrass myself too much, or what's the word? Give too much info, or whatever, or spill my guts too much, or whatever you want to call it, or and hopefully it wasn't too cringeworthy. And I can't think what else I'm trying to say. Hope I didn't embarrass my family too much either by admitting to some of my madness. But again, I'd love to hear what you think as ever, and I'm out. Peace and love.